gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven. Today we are supposed to talk about local mission. But what is local mission? To me, local mission means being a witness right where you live and right where you work. So we are not talking about going somewhere. We are talking about right where you are. Being a witness right where you live and right where you work. Okay? And from this passage, we want to talk about the life of witness. Three things here. Firstly, the salt of the earth. Secondly, the light of the world. And thirdly, the light must shine. Firstly, the salt of the earth. We'll look at two things here. Firstly, the salt influence and lost saltiness. Firstly, in verse 13, it says, "You are the salt of the earth." You are the salt of the earth. But if salt has lost its taste, how shall the saltiness be restored? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled under people's feet. I'd like for you to look at this first sentence there. You are the salt of the earth. What does that mean? Now notice Jesus said it directly. You are the salt of the earth. He did not say you should be the salt of the earth. He did not say you can be the salt of the earth, but he says you are. What does this mean? This is a factual identity. This is a fact. You are. What this means is, we are not trying to be what you are not, but living out who you really are. Not trying to be what you are not. Jesus did not say you can be the salt, or you should be the salt, but you are the salt. So this is factual. So not trying to be what you are not, but living out what you already are. And I'd like for us to know the difference between these two very important words. It will show us the understanding and the concept. The first word called performance. The second word is influence. Performance and influence. Let me explain what these two words are. What is performance? Performance is a function of effort, skills, and method. So, performance talks about the skill that you have, the method that you have, the effort that you put in. So, if we summarize that, this means doing. That is performance. Okay. Now, influence is a function of capacity, integrity, and content. I'll explain that in a little while. And this is what we call being. Performance and influence. It says salt fulfill its function by virtue of its nature. Being, not by virtue of its effort. In other words, salt performs its function by what it is, right? It is salty, it is character, and so the salt didn't have to do anything. It's not by effort, it is by its nature. You understand? And so salt performs its function by its being, not by its doing. You understand so far? Because I'm going to go into something harder a little bit. Okay? Salt performs its function by virtue of its nature, its being, not by its doing. Okay? Now we talk about the salt of the earth. Jesus said, "You are the salt of the earth." So what are the primary functions of the salt of the earth? I think there are at least two of them. Firstly is preservative. Preservative means to curb decay. Curb decay. And then secondly is seasoning. Seasoning is to enhance taste, make it more tasty. Okay? So preservative and seasoning. Preservative, salt applied to meat. You know, meat are dead, right? Because you have to kill the animal to get the meat. Right? So meat are dead. So dead meat by nature will decay. Right? If you put the dead meat there for 2 days, it's going to decay. So dead meat by nature will corrupt, will decay. Okay? And so salt applied to meat will stop the decay. Okay? Now, the meat that is not dead yet is what? Okay, the flesh, okay? Now, salt. Salt applied to live wound. You know, if you have a cut, you put salt on it. Wow! It's going to sting, right? But it has sanitizing effect. It will aid in healing. Just like when you have a mouth ulcer, you apply some salt, but shortly after that, you're okay. You see, salt applied to live wound, it will sting, but it will heal. But salt applied to dead meat, it will curb decay. Right? So this is the function of this. We'll explain what this means in a little while. Seasoning. Salt applied to food or vegetable will bring out the good flavor in this food. Take for example, you have a pot of soup and you apply salt in it. If you apply the right amount of salt, the soup doesn't taste salty, but it tastes good. Of what the right? You see, meaning that salt brings out the good taste of the food. That's what seasoning is. So that the food is not just tasting salty, but it brings out that flavor of what is originally in it. Okay? So this is seasoning. You understand so far? Yes. These are basic, and after this we want to talk about the application, what this means to us. Okay? Now, salt can fulfill its function only if it is applied to the target object. So in other words, you must have direct contact. So if the salt is not applied to the meat, it cannot curb decay, right? You know, there's a piece of meat here. Instead of applying to the meat, I apply to the pot. Then it's not going to help this. So it must be in contact. It must be in contact. Salt kept in a salt bottle and not applied to the meat or the food cannot exert its influence and therefore is useless. So if the salt remains in the salt bottle with other salt, but not with the meat, right? Then it cannot exert its influence. So if Christians only remain with Christians and not where it should be in the world, then it cannot be the salt of the earth. So there is the need for contact. You understand? Okay. Now we'll look at this and then I'll explain. So lost saltiness. Verse 13, you are the salt of the earth, but if salt has lost its taste, how shall its saltiness be restored? Here it says, if salt has lost its taste, how can salt lose its taste? But here it says, if salt has lost its taste, how can it be salty again? How could salt lose its saltiness? Pure salt, sodium chloride. Pure salt will always be salty. If it is pure salt, it always tastes that way. You cannot change that. If pure salt will always be salty, then how would salt lose its saltiness? How would salt lose its saltiness? Now in the past, there are some dishonest merchants that they will blend in some cheaper impurity. So they mix the salt with some other thing, cheaper thing, so that they can increase its profit. It happened. This is human nature. Okay, it happened. So you put in other ingredient, other impurity that is not salt, so that you can increase the profit margin. Okay, so this is what happened. Now, if this is true, then when the impurity or the contaminant outnumber the pure salt, in other words, the impurity are more than the pure salt, then the resultant mixture will lose its character and its saltiness. So the resultant mixture is no longer pure salt, right? Because major part of it is non-salt, right? Because they added in other impurities. And so this is what happens. When you have more impurity or more contaminant in that mixture, then salt becomes a minor part of it. And it cannot exert its influence. It has lost its character. Then the question is, how would Christians lose the saltiness? We are the salt of the earth. How can we lose our saltiness? I think in the same way, you see, when the craving for worldly profit, when we want worldly profit, and therefore we allow ourselves to be contaminated by various impurities. When we allow impurity to come into our life, to contaminate our faith and our obedience to God. I know I should do this, but because I consider, well, this is not politically correct. This will affect my business. This will affect my this, and therefore we compromise. We allow different impurity and contaminant to come into our faith. And so when these things outnumber us, then slowly you are no longer the pure salt. Right? Slowly you are no longer that pure salt. You are less than salt now. There's something that is different there. You understand this? You see, all this start from where? That same profit. The profit that you hope to get, the worldly profit, just like those dishonest merchants, they want that profit and therefore they are not looking to do the right thing, they just want the profit. And so as Christians, as salt of the earth, if we are looking at the profit rather than our influence, and we allow impurity to come in, and that is where we lose our saltiness. You understand? You follow? Now the only way not to be salty. Earlier we said pure salt will always be salty. Sodium chloride will always be salty. The only way not to be salty is to stop being true to our nature and therefore forfeiting our character. The only way that we don't want to be salty is stop being true to our Christian nature, to the life that God has given to us. And so when we stop being Christian, or behaving as Christian, living out the truth of being Christian, then we lose our character. We forfeit our character. When people look at us, they cannot see any truth or semblance of what a Christian should be. You follow? It's you know what is the verdict? This is what Jesus said. It is no longer good for anything. Now this is a tragic verdict. You see, the salt of the earth has become utterly useless. And say it's thrown out to be trampled underfoot by men. And so this is a choice. You see, when the salt of the earth is no longer salty, it is useless. It has become totally useless as a witness. We have lost our influence. We cannot be what we ought to be. Okay? Salt of the earth, you understand so far? Now let's look at the light of the world. We look at the influence of light and covered light. Light influence. In verse 14, you are the light of the world. A city set on the hill cannot be hidden. Jesus said, you are the light of the world. And a city set on the hill cannot be hidden. Let's look at this light. Light dispels darkness. And it makes things visible. That's the function of light. Light dispels darkness. And makes things visible. Now we talk about two things. We talk about decay. Decay is a corruption from inside out. So that dead meat, the corruption starts from inside. It corrupts from inside. But darkness is outside. Darkness is the evil from outside in. Darkness is what is around us. Darkness. Now let me explain a little bit further. Salt. Salt is a physical substance that you can hold in your hand. Salt. But you cannot hold light in your hand. Right? Light is not a physical substance, but light is a form of energy emitting from a source. So there's a difference between salt and light. Salt is something that you can hold, but light you cannot hold. Light is not a physical substance. Light is a form of energy emitting from a source. If the source stops emitting, then you don't have the light. Right? And so we have this light. It's emitting from that source, the electrical energy. And when you turn it off, it goes off, right? You cannot hold it. It's just a form of energy. Now, what is darkness? Darkness is oppressive and pervasive. Pervasive means it's everywhere. It's there. And without light, darkness rules. Now, when we turn off the light, you know what is there? Darkness. Anywhere where there is no light, darkness rules. You agree? Okay. Now, I want to show you something about this. You see, salt's action on preserving meat is a lasting influence. Meaning that when I apply salt to a meat, I make it salted meat. And this can last for months and years, right? It remains that way. Correct? Once I apply the salt on it, its influence is there and it stays there for a long time. You can have salted meat, salted fish, salted egg for a long time, right? It gets there. The influence is lasting. But light is not. Light's action of dispelling darkness is an instantaneous influence. Meaning it is in an instant. Let me explain. See, light dispels darkness in an instant. You go into your room. After you go into your room, it's dark. You turn on the light, it's bright. It's in an instant. When you turn on the light, it dispels darkness. But the thing is, when you turn off the light, what happens? Darkness comes back immediately. Right? I turn on the light for 2 hours. The light influence, can it continue? When I turn it off, what do I get? Darkness. I turn on the light for 1 minute and I turn on the light for 2 hours. And after that I turn it off. Would that make a difference? 1 minute and 2 hours? No, right? Because the influence of the light is instantaneous. The moment I turn it off, it's off. The influence does not continue. Okay? For salt, it continues. Once I apply the salt, it stays. But when I turn on the light, it dispels darkness. When I turn it off, darkness comes back. Okay? Now, this is something very important concept for us to understand. We are the salt of the earth and we are the light of the world. And therefore, later on, Jesus said, your light must shine. Because if your light don't shine, then you stop your influence. Darkness comes back. That is the difference between the salt and light. You understand so far? Okay. Now, the source of our light is Christ Jesus. He said, I am the light of the world. He is the light of the world. And then he said, you are the light of the world. You know, he is a source. When we have him in our life, then we have that light, just like the moon reflects the light of the sun. And so, the light that we have is not ours. The light that we have comes from that source, which is Christ himself. He is the light of the world, and if we have him, and Jesus said, you are the light of the world. So we are the light of the world because we have that source. And we reflect that light. Now the world may reject the light. When Christ came, the world rejected him. See, bright light stings the eye, which have been accustomed to darkness. You know, when you are so accustomed to darkness and then suddenly you turn on the light, you know, say, turn off the light, right? You don't want the light because it hurts you. And the world, when they are so used to darkness, and you turn on the light comes in, they will reject the light. That was what happened that Jesus was rejected. They would want to continue in the darkness, and they rejected the light. And as the light of the world, don't assume that the world will welcome us. When Christ came, he was rejected, and we as his disciple, and the disciple cannot be higher than the teacher. And if they treat the teacher that way, the disciples have to expect maybe the same kind of treatment. If they rejected Christ, they would reject us. And so these are some reality that we have to look at. And in John chapter 3 verse 20, for everyone who does wicked things hates the light and does not come to the light, lest his work should be exposed. This is a condition in the world. See, they did evil things, wicked things, they hate the light. Who would love the light? Those who do the right thing. Those who did the wrong thing, they don't want the light because the light exposes their wickedness. Covered light. In verse 15, nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light to all in the house. So he says, when people light a lamp, they don't put it under a basket, but they put it on the lampstand. Now, let's look at this. You light the lamp and put it under a basket. So what would happen if you actually do that? I light a candle and then I put the basket on it. What will happen? Huh? What will happen? What will happen to the light? The light will die out, right? What? Like an oxygen. Okay. True. Yeah. Okay. Now, when you put the light under a basket, and so the light cannot shine. And not only it cannot shine, but slowly it will die. Right? Because it covered, there's no oxygen, no life in it. See, when the light is covered or concealed, it is unable to act on the darkness. So this is useless light. So just like when the salt is kept in the salt bottle rather than applied on the meat, then it is useless because it cannot exert its function. Okay? And so a light, when light is covered and concealed, it is equally useless. Okay? And not only that, hidden under a basket, the lamp will soon die out for short of oxygen. So hidden light will be snuffed out, it will die. And so when we refuse to shine, when we try to cover, you know what happened to your light? It would eventually die out. You will lose the light. So light must be put on a lampstand for all to see. It becomes useless when hidden. And so when our light refuses to shine, then it is useless when we cover it up. If we try to hide our identity as light of the world, we will instead lose our influence and our integrity. We'll lose our influence and we'll lose our character, our integrity. Because the light will die out. Thirdly, the light must shine. The light must shine. Two things here. First is settled choice. Secondly, glorifying God. In verse 16, in the same way, let your light shine before others. In the same way. In what way? So that was what was said before. He said, no one light a lamp and put it under the basket, but put it on the lampstand so that all in the house can see. And say, in the same way. So when you light a lamp, you put it on the lampstand. So in the same way, let your light shine. In the same way. Meaning that any thinking person lighting a lamp would sensibly put it on a lampstand to give light to all in the house. This is what a normal thinking person would do. Right? You light a lamp, you put it on a lampstand so that all can see. And then he says, let your light shine. What is let? Let means allow. So this is a conscious choice. Let your light shine. This is also a considered and a settled decision. Settled means that you consider various things and you finally come to that conclusion. Settled. And I think what is lacking for many of us is that we have not come to that settled decision. You have not decided. Younger people, when my children are younger, my daughter will always say, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. I said, what do you want? He said, everything also you want, but you cannot have everything. So you need to decide what you want. I think it is crucial for us to decide what we want. That is called settled decision. When you come to a point, this is what I want. I know this is what I want. I know this one will count. It will have lasting value. It will count for eternity. This is what I would choose. settle decisions. I think it is important for us to think through and say, what is it that I really want? So this is a settled decision not to do anything to hide our light. Let our light shine. Now we need to know the consequence of not shining. You know what's the consequence of not shining? Is smothered light. Your light will get snuffed out, right? When you refuse to shine, the consequence is your light will slowly die out, and you will lose that influence. When we refuse to exert as salt, you know what happens? We lose our saltiness. So this is the consequence. And I think it is the choice that we have is not to decide whether we want to be the salt of the earth and the light of the world, because we already are. And the choice is whether we want to exert our rightly influence. Whether the salt would go to the meat and exert that preservative function. The salt will go to the soup and the vegetable and exert the seasoning function. The light will shine in the darkness. Only the darkness needs light. When it is a bright place, you don't need light, right? It doesn't make much difference. But light must shine in the darkness. And when we refuse to, we talk about the salt of the earth. That means you must apply it to the earth. The light of the world, we must go to the world. Otherwise, it doesn't exert that function. When we refuse to do that, then we lose our influence, and we lose. Not only lose our influence, but we lose who we are. We lose our character. Okay? You understand? And that's glorifying God. Verse 16. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven. They may see your good works and give glory to your Father. So that this is the purpose or the desired outcome of keeping the light shining. So that we shine. So that this is the purpose. So that they may see your good works. Now, what is the good works here? The good works here is that both your light and your salt at work in the world. That is a good work. If the salt exerting is rightly influenced, this is good work. The light exerting is rightly influenced, this is good work. So the world can see our good works. The world can see our influence as salt and as light. So this is the thing. And they will give glory to your Father. Now, who will give glory? They will give glory. Who is this they? The world. They will give glory to God the Father when they see evidently the power and the grace of God working in us. When people see the grace and the power of God working in us, they will give glory to God. Because they recognize that this is evidently the work of God making possible. And I think we need to live our life in such a way that the power of God and the grace of God will be so evident. When people look at us, they say this is God at work. And they will give glory. And so we talk about local mission. Local mission is to witness, to be the true witness right where we live and right where we work. In our neighborhood and in our workplace. as salt of the earth, and as light of the world. Let me summarize what we have done. We talk about life of witness. Mission is not talking about something that we do out there. Mission will also have to begin with who we are. And so we, as witness, we need to look at our life. And so our life, firstly, as salt of the earth. Jesus said, you are the salt of the earth. And this salt need to accept that influence as preservative and as seasoning. Seasoning, it brings out the good in people. Just like when Christians are with some non-Christians, when they know that we are Christian, they tend to modify their language, right? They don't use so much vulgarity when they. You see, now I think this is what it is. I think this is what it is. You see, when we are with them, we bring out the better part of them. They don't use vulgarity, they don't whatever. They are better in some words. This is seasoning. They respect our standard that we will do things in a certain way. They respect it. And so this is seasoning. Or the non-Christian will treat us just the same as any other non-Christian. If they do it that way, that means in their eyes, our life is no different from any of those people, right? And we lose that seasoning in us. And so we are the salt of the earth, and we are the light of the world. Light is a form of energy emitting from a source. When you turn it off, darkness comes back. Right? When I turn off the light right now, you will be darkness. Darkness will come back immediately. No matter how long you have been shining, the moment you turn it off, darkness comes back. That is what the impact is. That's why we need to continue to shine. Not stopping. Continue to shine. Okay? And light must shine. When we stop shining, we lose our way. Smothered light and saltless, tasteless salt that has no taste. And so our choice is, would you accept the influence and salt of the earth as light of the world? Let your saltiness be known and let your light shine. Let's pray, shall we? Father, I pray